Gentlemen, welcome back. This is Reviving Real News. How are you gentlemen doing today? This Wednesday afternoon by the time you guys get this. I personally hope you guys are doing well. I might sound a little off, and I have no answer for you for that. Besides, where I live, the weather is shit. Gentlemen, I'm 40 years old, and with the exceptions of traveling for work out of state, predominantly I've lived in the same state my whole life. I've never seen this. I've never, ever, ever. It's going to be almost 60 degrees today, December 7th, and there's people with their air conditioners on. It is dense, thick, muggy, and sticky, like it's July or August. This is just, yeah, guys, like, oh my gosh, I got my own personal demons right now. I mean, not demons, but just stuff I have to deal with. And this just makes everything, it compiles everything. It makes it worse. Yeah, man, I've never in my life experienced this kind of weather in December. Never. This is just ridiculous. Be honest with you, it looks like some of the trees across the parking lot they want to get bugs on them again. That's just dumb. But anyways, I do apologize if I sound off or something weird. I have nothing going on wrong that I'm aware of. I just know what the weather and how dense it is. The dew point, gentlemen, is exactly how you tell what the weather is going to be. Let me repeat that. The dew point is how you tell what the weather is going to actually feel like. Miss me with the humidity and all that other nonsense. And again, you don't take my word for that. Look it up yourselves. Read it for yourselves. If you want to know what the day is going to be, look for the dew point. D-E-W point. For layman's terms, that's going to tell you how dense and how thick the air actually is. Meaning, like, does it feel like a soup? Does it feel like you guys get my point? But I do hope you guys are well. I hope you take care of yourselves. And I hope to God a majority, I hope almost all of you are not being caught up in this air quotes here season. I don't see how any man can enjoy this. I don't. I really truly don't. Obviously, I have to go in public and I have to go places. You can see and smell the desperation everywhere. And I'm not joking you. It's coming from the men and the women. It's almost comical, to be honest with you. It almost is. Pardon me, I drink some coffee. Yeah, I need coffee. That's how weird it feels today. Like real bluff and lethargic. It's just, yeah, I don't like it. But yeah, you can definitely you can tell. This is, at least in my general area, this is not the Hallmark season or the Christmas season or what I'm telling you, gentlemen. I've lived in the same place for a long time. I literally lived next to a very, very world-renowned church. They always decorate the clock tower or the bell tower. It's December 7th. There's nothing. There is no Christmas lights. There is nothing on that bell tower at all. It's the same monotonous light color. But again, I can see the desperation. I can see it. And yes, gentlemen, I do know that 99.9% of that's junkies, alcoholics, and what have you. I know that. But, you know, in the same breath, you can see it on whatever people who probably aren't involved in those. You can see it. Whether it's desperation for conversation or desperation for attention. And I know why the women are doing it. I do know why. Hey, go away, stay away. Go away and stay away. Yeah, yeah, I think I pissed a bunch of them off yesterday. Because my numbers are garbage, not even worth speaking about, but boy, I happened to accidentally click on my channel, whatever, on accident. I don't ever look at this stuff. I just have a general whatever when people tell me something. I saw it on accident. I lost a bunch of people. It must have been a bunch of women. Or it must have been... See, I'm getting all tongue-tied here because I'm trying not to laugh my ass off. Or I must have pissed off a bunch of young feminized dudes. I don't care. I don't care. Yes, and truthfully, yeah, this platform could be doing stuff. I don't know. When I say I don't care, don't take it the wrong way. When I say I don't care, it's because this is not my modus operandi. I just think it's comical. That's all. I think it's absolutely comical because I said a lot worse things. But whatever. That's just funny to me. But man, guys, I'm really curious though, was like the younger guys, what their desperation. I'm curious about that. I think the desperation is inclusivity and sandpaper peace sleeve. That's just my opinion, because I don't know why some 20-year-olds be acting the way they do. I don't see it. Hey, and you younger dudes, look, hey, how in the fuck, let me repeat this, how in the fuck do you guys wear, and how the hell do you wear women's yoga pants? Or do you wear some kind of what, I don't know if you call them pants, tights, stockings, whatever the hell you young ones call them. You guys are wearing the stuff that Steven Tyler and David Bowie would wear, to the point that you could literally make out the junk. I had to stand in line today behind some young person. I don't want to use words, but young person. And this motherfucker had on shit that I'm telling you, I would have had no circulation in my butt cheeks. I would have had no circulation going to my left and right testicle. And I probably would have had my tool fall off. Kind of like when you cut off the circulation to your fingers or your hand, and I would have lost my tool. Gentlemen, why? Why? Holy crap, why? I mean, why? Seriously, tell me why. And I'm going to revive some real news real quick here before I jump into what I want to do. You are seriously hurting your tool, and you're hurting your performance, you fucking ignorant ass clowns. And you're ignorant because you don't know better. Do you not realize the most crucial key to success with your tool is your blood circulation and blood flow? You idiots are cutting off all blood circulation and blood flow, and then you wonder why Becky from the block goes 6 things up the street and gets sowed and plowed by Thuggerone. You wonder why this shit happens to you. You young guys are so lost and misguided. I'm telling you right now, you may think whatever is going on with that bitch, but I'm telling you, behind your back, every second of your living, breathing existence, you're being dogged and clowned. And I'm telling you, your shit is not working up to peak performance. Again, this goes to no male figures, no fathers, no nothing. Nobody teaching right from wrong and logic and common sense. I'm sorry, but no, I'm not sorry. What in the... Hey, that's some crazy, crazy stuff. And the dude that was in front of me had on about a $400 pair of stupid fucking waste of material shoes. So I know he could afford pants that fit. And you guys got this all wrong, and I'm telling you, you got this all wrong. Excuse me. Stop getting your advice, all your advice in any kind, from metrosexual, feminized faggots and from fucking women who want nothing more than to watch you crash and burn, because you guys are crashing and burning at an alarming rate. I kid you not. This is, gentlemen, please, 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 hit the reset button. Hit that reset button and reevaluate your decisions and choices on a daily basis. Oh. Guys, I couldn't do it. I could not do it. There's just no fucking way. I remember as a child fighting, literally fighting with my mother and father, especially when I got to a certain age and sports took off. There was no way on God's earth I was ever wearing no fucking tidy whities, or any way, shape, or form I was going to be wearing something that it looked like it came out of a Playgirl magazine. I ain't no fag, and I ain't dressing like one. You guys are giving the wrong impressions, the wrong everything by with that shit, what you're wearing. And oh my goodness. My gosh. Hey, and especially you younger dudes, you white guys who think you're black, and you young gentlemen of color who think you're gangbangers and rappers, you guys don't even know the origins and meanings to your style of clothing and dressing. You guys have no clue what it means to be doing those things that you're doing. You better wake up and realize what those things mean and where they come from. A lot of that shit comes from real prison. They have real symbology and real meanings to it. You young guys have got this all bass-ackwards. Please stop. Respectfully, please stop. Please. You guys don't want me to tell you what it means to wear your hat backwards. You don't want me to tell you what it means to wear your pants a certain way. I'm reviving real news. I have experience. I've been in prison. I most definitely can break this all down to you. In one video, I can mash it all together. I can break it down in multiple videos on why you don't do this and the origins of all of it. And this new trend, you guys don't want to know where it comes from and what it means. A lot of you are going to get butthurt and get in your feelings about it. I'm just going to say one word, and that's going to be that, and I'm going to jump into it. Emasculating. I want you to think about that. You're wearing yoga pants, you idiots. I don't give a fuck that it has the Phil Knight logo on it. I don't give a F, a flying fuck, that it has an Adidas logo on it. You're emasculating yourselves, gentlemen. You younger guys really don't have a clue, man. You don't. You've got to get off the technology. You've got to stop this. Your Twitch streams, your Discords, and all of this Baphomet digital devil stuff. You guys are so misguided and lost. You don't have a clue. You don't have a clue. You guys are really making yourselves into things that you don't want to be. The older you younger guys get into 28, 29, and 30, these women are going to run from you no matter what kind of money you got and drugs you got. They're going to run because you are fucking emasculated, you're feminized, and you're weak. But the most important thing is you guys won't know how to fucking function with your tool or nothing. You guys are screwing yourselves. You're going to be on all kinds of pharmaceutical, castrating, poisonous junk, and you're going to be mentally destroyed because you could be doing X, Y, and Z right, but no one's going to mess with you. You guys need to look in the mirror and stop this. You guys are screwing yourselves to when you should be at the peak and prime of your life and age and everything. No one's going to mess with you. But don't listen to me. Go ahead and keep screwing yourselves. Remember, I don't have any real world experience. I don't know anything. I don't have any experience with women at all. I'm an incel virgin. I'm 497 pounds. I can't see my penis when I pee. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a loser. I have no real world experience. Man, get out of here. You younger dudes, for real, man. Start listening to somebody older than you who's got some skin in the game. But enough of that rant, dude. Let's revive some real news, gentlemen. I want to start something different. Because I want to, and I think it should be talked about. And it's probably going to have to be, a couple videos or more. But this is something that should be talked about, and it's not, and it's very crucial. I want to talk about the division between fathers and sons. And this is going to probably just be an introduction or a prelude. I'm kind of going to set the canvas and start painting, and I'll finish it up later. But gentlemen, now more than ever in our existence, the discontent, the division, and it's not just a gap, it's a Grand Canyon of separation between the sons and fathers. And this has probably never happened that we are aware of. If it has happened, they've scrubbed it and done a very good job of it. But gentlemen, I'm going to have to agree that it was intentional in every aspect. But let's just get right into this, so I don't keep this at no hour long or whatever. I rambled on long enough about the stupid young guys in their damn yoga pants. But listen, I have a pretty good feeling and instinct of when this started. Especially with America and Europe. Excuse me. Let's just kind of start to paint a picture here so we can all be on the same page of how things were at a certain part in our history. All right, gentlemen, let's start. Let's just go ahead and start at the end of World War I. And you still had family structure. You still had traditions and heritages and, typical cultures and customs and ways of life. And fathers and sons were still strong. The fathers were still educating and teaching and were situationally aware of the world, their environment, their culture, and yes, the politics, yes, the religion, yes, the entertainment, the daily life, all of these things. And yes, gentlemen, there were things happening in different countries in the realm, during this time period. But the underlying point that I want to kind of start to paint here is you still had these relationships. They were still close-knit. A father and a son was something everyone across the entire realm respected. Like, that was what everybody's dream or desire or purpose was. If you were a man, you wanted a son. And yes, I am aware, especially at this time, a lot of families did have boys or wished or prayed for boys because it helped with the family. It helped with the daily labor. Yes, I am aware of this. Those were all healthy things. But my point is, gentlemen, the world was still the world to where the father and son could relate and interact and conversate and disagree with each other. And at the end of the day, they loved each other still. And the next morning, there was like nothing happened. There was just the love, the guidance, the security, the comfort, the nurturing, the education. You see, and also I know certain laws and government things weren't what they were, and life was still relatively basic. There wasn't a lot of distractions. And yes, a lot of men had faith. And that faith was passed on to their sons and their daughters. But do you see the picture I'm trying to paint here? There were common grounds. There were common morals, values, principles, faith, beliefs, understandings, traditions, heritages. There were common guidelines. There were common events, common beliefs, principles. Gentlemen, there was a common community, a sense of belonging, purpose, understanding. And the fathers, the grandfathers, and the uncles could all pass these things on. They could educate in real time and in real life. From the time the boy was 4, 5, 6, until the elders moved on and passed away. And it's in every aspect of life back then, gentlemen. You know, as we are building up, to World War II, even the grandfathers at their precious age could absolutely, unequivocally conversate and relate and live in the moment with their grandsons and their great-grandsons and their immediate family. They could. There still was respect for the elders. There was the wanting and yearning of passing of knowledge and experience, education, traditions. Fathers still enjoyed their sons, and the sons absolutely loved, respected, and enjoyed their fathers, their grandfathers, their uncles. And as things, started to, I guess you would say, modernize, start to, air quote, develop, you saw the American immigration from Europe slow down. And then we all, see what I got to be careful talking about DOS. I got to be careful about that. But when that started to happen and it got to where it got to, a lot of our common values and such things were cemented that much more. Especially with America, my culture, and stuff like that. And also what was going to start to happen in my country, in America, during this conflict with that man and the country and things I can't. So I say a lot of bad words, but I know that I'm being watched. I know I am. And I also know those are certain things that'll get you in the doghouse. But even with that going on, the bottom line was the bond and the relationship and everything in between with the father and the son was stronger than ever. At this time and point in America, you have a generation or 2 generations of men who were chomping proudly at the bit to go honor their father and or their grandfather by serving and protecting their family and their country. Those things are gone, gentlemen. And also, gentlemen, men had purpose. They belonged. And their fathers made sure of that. And it was allowed to take place. Because you see, during this time period in America is when a lot of things were changing. Guys, a lot of things were. You had the modernization. And without a shadow of a doubt, you absolutely had the onslaught of urbanization. The suburbs, everything. And yes, gentlemen, I wholeheartedly, without a doubt, believe the only reason America, anything after that whole conflict, because we still had family values and beliefs. Fathers and sons were not divided. There absolutely was none of this disrespect and all-out hatred that we have now. Despite all that was happening during that time, fathers loved their sons, and they would stay awake on days upon days on end, hoping and praying their sons would come back. Just so they could continue to pass on the knowledge, the traditions, to educate them, to love them, encourage them, and support them. And what was also starting to really become a foundation, men were still allowed to be men. And their fathers could encourage them to be men and teach them to be men in every aspect of their life. And the sons welcomed it. The majority did welcome it. But what was also happening in my country at this time with, like I said, you have the urbanization, you got the suburbs, you have traditional values, and you still have family and marriage. But you see, guys, why all this is happening and still going on, America's kind of quote unquote, air quote, booming. And during this boom, things were pretty good for men and their sons. A key aspect to this, gentlemen, and I know so many, hey, you young guys, pay attention to this one so you guys can stop with your lies and your fake news. I'm going to revive some real news, you young bucks. You see, during this time period and after this time period, there was absolutely a wonderful, blissful thing happening in America. You see, a man was a man and could conduct himself like a man. And then teach these things on to his son. But why did he have all of these abilities? Why was he unable to? Why was he allowed to go to work but still have things? Including kids and a wife, a woman, something to bang at night? In America, men, one more time, men had what was called living wages. Translation for the uneducated or the ignorant. Yeah, there was no feminist, gynocentric bullshit. Women were women, and they did women things, and they shut the fuck up. Living wage allowed you to go to work and be able to take care of and handle all of your responsibilities and obligations. Translation, you didn't have to stress about a damn woman, go to work and worry about some dumb woman and bullshit. You didn't have to worry about debt, courts, child support, divorce, none of it. Your biggest bitch was, what are my kids going to do today? What kind of shit is my son going to do today? Junior better not get Stacy pregnant because I'm going to cut his motherfucking thing off. You see, these were normal things. And the father and the son still had a wonderful relationship and bond. Are you guys starting? I mean, does this picture start to like, you guys starting to see what I'm trying to paint here? This is just how I'm trying to build this. Because I know this is going to take more than one video here. But things were so different. You look at the 1950s and you start to see the 60s. You had fathers who would wake up chomping every morning at the bit to be able to start to transition their boy into a man. Whether it be the sexual stuff, finances, and career, job. You got to remember back in this time period how many men looked forward to the day they could take their son under their wing and start to get ready to pass on the business or the whatever it may be for the family or something. And another thing, gentlemen, a lot of you young bucks, listen up again. More reviving real news for you. Also, back then in America, college education was predominantly F-R-E-E, free. Again, gentlemen, it was free. If you lived in Wyoming and you went to a state school, it was free. If you lived in Indiana, you went to an Indiana state school, it was free. You lived in Ohio, you went to an Ohio State public university, it was free. You see, gentlemen, you only paid if you went to private stuff or things along those nature. These are all reasons why the bond and relationship between a father and the son was so dramatically different than things are today, guys. And another thing that I think is crucial to put in this prelude here, before I really kind of dive into where things go to hell. Men and their sons, fathers and their sons, absolutely, unequivocally, without a doubt, had their privacy and their spaces. There was no fucking leeches and no fucking women or anything. Oh my God. This is when shit turns into a nightmare, gentlemen. This is bad. You can't do these things anymore today in 2022 as we go to 2023. Can't. And it breaks my heart. I have boys. Gentlemen, that was so crucial for natural nurturing development of the bond and the relationship between men, but especially the father and the son. For the father to be able to take the boy out away from the mother or from the sisters and the aunties and everything. I remember this because I got to do this. Be an 8, 9-year-old little boy and have your dad or your uncles, you're coming with us. And you get to go to the back 40 where the bonfire is and where the coolers of beer are and all the men. Or you get to go to the barber shop and all the men are smoking their cigars and they're talking about, man, I could go on for hours about these things. Fathers and sons still had these things and these opportunities and these spaces. And it developed such loving, healthy, nurturing relationships and bonds that I'm afraid, men, we might never get them back. Because so many are cowards. So many are slaves to women. And fuck you for that. Because now we're in the shithole that we're in. You just go look anywhere in this realm between the 40s, the 50s, and the 60s. And any and all cultures and creeds. There was such a different time You want to know why the things were so good? It's because fathers could still relate to the world and then relate to their sons. Translation: fathers knew what was going to be what. They didn't have to worry about no fucking pronouns. They didn't have to worry about an OnlyFans. They didn't have to worry about child support, divorce, fucking BBC lusting and worshipping succubi Jezebel bitches. Holy shit. No, there was none of this. Despite all how bad things could be at work, how bad things could be with the baseball team or the softball team, maybe the bowling league team, society and the world was still, quote unquote, air quotes, normal. A father could relate to the boy or his son because the culture, society, the interactions, the hobbies, the spaces, the entertainment, the music, the propaganda wasn't the shit we have now. You guys, do you see this picture that I'm trying to paint here to start this? At the end of the day, gentlemen, no matter what was going on and how bad things were, that father could still teach and educate and pass on things to his son. Because God bless America, we still had places and spaces for men and their sons. It didn't matter. A father could still talk to his boy about women. And then they could go and watch the football game. While dad is sitting there telling Junior, your ass better stand next to them antenna ears, and you better take that foil and put it over here. And then, by the time you get ready to sit next to dad and crack open something to drink, he's sitting there screaming at you to go turn the volume up because, hey, you young bucks, we were the antenna and the remote controls back then. That's reviving some more real news for you. But gentlemen, no matter what, they could relate to their sons. They could teach them things about life, women, hobbies, a family, a home. You see, gentlemen, there was a lot of bad things happening back then too. But my underlying point to you guys, and the most important thing is, fathers and sons were still fathers and sons with a wonderful bond and relationship. Excuse me. I wish that I knew what it was like back then. I wish I could tell you I lived it. You see, gentlemen, this is exactly when things started to go bad. And that's the truth. And it's really, really sad to think about this and then to see the downfall. There used to, man, I wish that I could relate to that time period. The strength between the father and son, the bond, the memories. There wasn't anything that father and son didn't do or share. Besides obvious, you guys, don't start to be weird on me. But my goodness, gentlemen, you get to, yeah, I'll just save it, but it had to be a wonderful thing to be a man or a father back then. It had to be. You could take your son everywhere and not worry about anything. My God. Now look at us. You're not even allowed to talk to your son about the absolute atrocity and dangers of sexual intercourse. As a father, you're not allowed to be the individual to educate and inform your son of his biology and his tool. This is exactly how far we as a species have degraded and devolved since 1967-68. Let that sink in, gentlemen. Let that sink in, for real. Just to rehash. You went from being able to have a living wage, be able to go places and spaces with your sons. You could provide for a family and a wife. You could pass on traditions, family traditions, heritages, bloodlines, cultures, manly things. And this is where the division starts, gentlemen. This is exactly where our grandfathers and our great-grandfathers, through absolutely no fault of their own, you mark my words, they were blindsided, caught off guard, and absolutely Rochambeaued. For you South Park fans, they were absolutely Rochambeaued by this filthy, Baphomet feminist movement. Gentlemen, that's real shit. This is where the division starts. You see, when I started, fathers and sons were united together because the father could relate to everything around him and he could relate to his son. But gentlemen, we're about to start the real division. Because at this point, our grandfathers and our fathers and our great-grandfathers are experiencing, for the first time in human existence, air quotes, mental issues or the absolute inability to grasp the reality around them. And this is where the division starts, gentlemen, and leads right to where we are today. You make no mistake about that, gentlemen. This whole system went out of their way to cause them absolute confusion, separation, angst, anxiety, and in some cases, hatred in families and amongst fathers and sons. And gentlemen, I know what this is. It's absolutely because our grandfathers and our fathers could not adjust and relate to society. So therefore, when they were looking at us and talking to us and starting to deal with us, they couldn't relate. I'm going to say that again, gentlemen. Things got to a point, our fathers and our grandfathers, they couldn't relate to society or understand it. So they absolutely could not understand and relate to us. Think about that one, gentlemen. Think about that. That's where I'm going to pick up the next video. I'll start into the division. But I want you guys to seriously think about that, man. Because I do. I'm fully starting to understand and be aware of why. And it's not because, gentlemen, they didn't love us or hate us. It's not because they didn't want us. It's not because of any of the things that the women today or social media will tell you. Gentlemen, they were deer in the headlights. They were going against something they weren't prepared to fight and battle against. They were being handcuffed and a muzzle was being put on them. And it was shock. They didn't know how to react. They had boys at home that they had to protect and raise. And the world went completely 180 upside down, batshit, gynocentric, crazy. The division started, gentlemen. But just to recap here, there was a time and a place, gentlemen, when it must have been wonderful. Because a father and a son could be a father and a son. That father could relate to his son, and he could relate to society and the world around him. There wasn't division. There was unity, understanding, empathy, compassion, relatability. And then, gentlemen, hell on earth started. The division of fathers and sons. Anyways, gentlemen, I appreciate you guys. I might put the second one out today, or I don't know yet. I don't know. I'll see how things go. But I appreciate it. Hopefully you guys enjoy it, and hopefully some of this makes sense. Like, hopefully some of these little pieces, make sense, because it is true. Like, I can see this. I can see why things started to go the way they are. I can see the time periods, especially in my country, when this happened and why it happened. And I can see why things are the way they are today. You can. And it really a lot of it has to do with what I said. A man was a man. A man had a living wage. Education was free, with an asterisk, unless you went to a private school or something like that. Men and sons had spaces and places, a purpose, a belonging. Yep, and then in the middle of the night, somebody decided to sprinkle feminism in any and all of everything. And the division started, gentlemen. But thank you, guys. Thank you. Take care of yourselves. I hope you guys, I hope this wasn't too off kilter or too weird or whatever. It's just something I think about, and I don't know. That's how I see it. But thank you, guys. Take care of yourselves, and remember that knowledge is power, man. Knowledge is power. Understanding things is power. And as always, if you stand for nothing, you will fall for anything. Gentlemen, this has been Reviving Real News.